Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good Monday morning to you as we come to you with my good friend Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. We got a ton of stuff to get to. It's been an interesting weekend. It's been a very interesting weekend for the Rays. Obviously, the Bucs are drafting 19th on Thursday night. They're on the clock. They're on the clock already, as far as we're concerned. And, the Lightning got a little business this week to take it. And I don't know about you, but I got my taste of playoff hockey this weekend. Woo! I am ready for some freaking NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great Easter weekend and, of course, an Easter Sunday, whatever you were doing, if you celebrated and everything. So hope you had a good weekend.
Happy Easter to all. Yes, I went to church. We did Easter brunch. You?
I had Easter brunch. My mom made a homemade lasagna. We pulled a
awesome.
the move that you usually do.
Oh, the Saladino lasagna.
The lasagna, the homemade sauce, the homemade meatballs, bread from La Segunda. I had the whole.
Did you save me some?
Huh?
Did you save me some? Did you save me some?
I got a big old pan of stuff that nobody ate.
Nice. No, I definitely I don't think I've had your mom's lasagna. I could definitely.
I gotta be honest. I didn't even know my mom had a homemade lasagna.
Really?
I didn't know. I think it's the first time she's actually made it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, turned out great.
What a surprise on Easter.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did church, and then we went to we were in Claremont, went to the Salt Shack on the lake there, which is awesome, beautiful. If you not just take a trip to Claremont, it's so cool. All the elevation changes. Go to the view at Claremont National, really cool place. And Claremont's really nice. If you want to drive like an hour and a half, go to Claremont, go to the Salt Shack on the lake, really cool place. Highly recommend it. All right, we got lots to get into. And you're going to give us your take on WrestleMania too, right?
Yeah, in the famous words of CM Punk from back in the day, I have a lot of things to get off my chest today.
Wow. So not good, huh?
Not good. Not just about wrestling, but this wasn't a good weekend for me as a sports fan. I mean, the Rays, goodness gracious. I mean, this one I expected. The Magic got blasted yesterday in Boston.
Yeah.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just all the sports I watched this week. I'm like, something make me excited, please. But now the Lightning, I mean, we got to wait tomorrow to get to that. And you mentioned the playoff hockey. You got your fix this weekend. We got a lot to live up to as a crowd tomorrow night because Carolina, Raleigh was rocking. Winnipeg, unbelievable atmosphere. Vegas always brings it. We gotta bring the fire tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was watching a little bit of the Vegas game last night where they had the fortress up there, which, let's just be honest, it's cheesy.
A little bit.
It's cheesy. It's very cheesy. I mean, it just doesn't. No, it doesn't resonate with what we do in Amalie Arena. But okay, whatever. It is what it is. But it's exciting. It's a show. Carolina was bonkers. Toronto was bonkers.
Thanks for coming back to the playoffs, Ottawa. Appreciate it.
Wow. Well, that was great. I'm a little worried because Ottawa looked completely overmatched last night. I don't want Toronto sweeping through the Sens and sitting on their ass for a week and a half while we beat the shit out of each other down here in Florida. The two best teams clearly in the East, in my opinion. I guess we're just going to kind of roll right into the Lightning since you got your hat on anyway. It's interesting. I was watching the great Biz Nasty was famously picking Florida, was all over Florida for like a week and a half after the matchups, and now he's flipped. Now he's flipped as he looks at the tail of the tape. And if you look at the tail of the tape, the Lightning are a sneaky favorite. They're sneaky favorite. They're the only team in the playoffs that is, they're number one in goals for. They're number 5 in goals against. I got to get these numbers exactly right. Where are they? Okay. Anyway, they're top 7 in power play, penalty kills, goals for, goals against. I mean, their numbers from an analytics standpoint and their 5-on-5 numbers are superior to anybody in the league, top to bottom. Now, does that mean you're going to win a Stanley Cup? No, because the playoffs are a much different game than the regular season. I get that. But I feel extremely confident in this Lightning team. I don't know what we're going to get from Florida, to be quite honest. You know, how good will Tkachuk be? Ekblad's not playing until game 3. Marchand hasn't really figured in. There's a lot of question marks. They could be, a really good team and shock everybody and just put it all together right away. And, am I a little afraid that their physicality, they have the most hits per game in the league, 29.5, I believe it is. Am I a little afraid that they may be able to take Kucherov out of his game and thus leave the scoring to the rest of the guys, which I'm a little bit more, okay with, because we've gotten some depth scoring lately. Hagel, Sorelli, even Connor Geekie scoring a couple of goals. We're going to need some depth scoring. There's no doubt about it. Am I a little concerned about that? Yes. I'll be totally honest. Yes.
They took Kuch out of the series last year.
They did.
Kuch had the worst playoff series he's ever had, going back to the Columbus series 6 years ago.
They did. And I'm concerned about that. There's no question. I think if you're trying to be objective here, you have to be concerned about that. That said, how is Florida going to score? How are they going to score? The only way that Florida wins this is if the Lightning get careless with the puck, turn it over, and allow it in the back of their net. Now, Vasilevsky has been the best goaltender since January 1st. And I don't know if you read Ed Ancina's piece this weekend in the Tribune on Vasi. It was probably the best Vasi story I've ever written. It was great quotes all over the place. And one of the things that came out is something that we've talked about, post-surgery. And you just looked at Vasilevsky, especially last year, and just said, not the same guy. Not the same guy. And he admitted that he had nerve damage in his right side where he could, barely stand at times. And it really affected him, obviously, as a goaltender. And it takes time for those nerves to heal. In his early career, he was doing a lot of powerlifting. And that just put such a pressure on your back. It's the same thing, honestly, that took out Tiger Woods, doing that heavy lifting. And it's just for a goalie, it's hard to argue with the results for his first 10, 11 years of his career. But it finally caught up to him. And last year, it really caught up to him. Now, you look at his numbers since January 1st, where he basically said, I finally feel normal, and they're back to elite Vasilevsky numbers. Nobody's been better in the playoffs in the last 20 years, 10, 15 years. Nobody. He's elite. So when you put all those things together, yes, I'm concerned that Kucherov could be taken out of this series. I also feel like, okay, you can do that once to Kucherov, but I don't think he's going to allow it to happen again. I think that's probably something that, what was the famous 2 weeks after the defeat last year, first round exit, he was back on the ice. Well, this is why. Because I'm sure, and when Kucherov is a stubborn son of a bitch. He is one stubborn, moody son of a bitch. And I say that with all due respect and wonder, because that's what makes him great. That's what makes him arguably the best playmaker. I've said this for years and years and years. Best playmaker in the game, with all due respect to Sidney Crosby.
The players voted him. They gave him the vote last week in the player poll.
There you go. And who was overwhelmingly the best goalie? Vasilevsky. So the players know. The media can say whatever they want. The players know. He's the best playmaker in the game. He's the best offensive force in the game, in my opinion. Look at the 2 straight Art Ross trophies, and the best goalie. You should be able to get something done, a deep run in this playoff. Julien Brisebois went out this offseason and completely remade this team in a lot of respects, especially from a 5-on-5 standpoint. it was interesting. I saw the hype video that the Lightning put out, and the first part of the hype video was, basically how this team. I'm not sure if it was property of the Light. Somebody put out this hype video. I don't know if it was the Lightning did it or who. The first part of that video was, all the pundits saying, how the hell can Steven Stamkos leave this franchise? And we all, our love and respect for Steven Stamkos is not factor into this part of the conversation. Okay, we're talking about making a hockey team better, objectively on the ice. JBB made the hard decisions that had to be made. And to me, that set the whole platform for this season. And you look at the numbers, you look at what Gensel has done, factor in if JJ Moser, who missed 2 months of the season, could have played the entire season, how much better the Lightning's record would be. I would submit they probably win the division. But the Lightning were very fortunate with injuries. They've been very fortunate this year, so I'm not going to complain about injuries. But that being said, he's back. This team is back at full strength. I shouldn't say that. We don't know about Glendening. We'll see about that. And obviously, Bjorkstrand is an issue. A guy that was
out for the series.
Yeah, out for the series. We were hoping to have him back. So there's some factors here, no question about it. But I think on balance, Florida's a lot more banged up than we are. And, I think the Lightning win this series in 6 or 7. I hope it's 6 because my daughter is graduating and I'm supposed to fly back on that Sunday of Game 7. So I'll just have to come back early, but that's no big deal. I say in 6 or 7. I think it's going to be a war. I think it's going to be a lower scoring series than maybe some expect. It's going to be tight checking, and obviously that might favor the Panthers, but I feel like the Lightning will win this series. A tough one, and then once they get it rolling, watch out.
Well, both goaltenders have a chance to steal this series. You only go as far as your goaltending will take you. We already mentioned Vasilevsky and the fact that the .926 save percentage, best in hockey since the turn of the new year, since January 1st. So he's locked in. Guy's locked in. And I was reading the Ed Encina piece, and he brought up, and I knew these numbers, but I hadn't seen them in a long time. 24 series clinching games, 162 goals against, and 942 save. It's just absolutely unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And I still think, one game on the line, who do I want in net? I want Andrei Vasilevsky.
Absolutely.
With that being said, Sergei Bobrovsky is coming off, his greatest run ever and getting that Stanley Cup last year. He's obviously a bit older, but we know that guy stoned the Lightning last year in the playoffs. And
he was the difference.
You mentioned what they did to Kucherov, and it's kind of interesting. I just sort of expect when the Lightning play, Toronto or Florida in these first-round matchups, typically the last few years, people have been all in on, Toronto's going to beat the Lightning 2 years ago. Last year it was like, oh, yeah, Florida's going to take care of Tampa, and it happened. And this year, the money's on Tampa Bay. Yeah. And it's a weird feeling to be back in. I went and looked, and ESPN had 26 analysts pick this series. 20 of them picked the Lightning. And I see that, and I'm like, interesting. A lot of people feel like this is the Lightning's year, and they might be the scariest team in the Eastern Conference. And I completely get that. And the other thing that's worth mentioning for Florida, and granted, I always say when the playoffs start, you probably throw all of this out the window.
Right.
But the Panthers are 10-1 coming into the playoffs. And during that time, that's a 21-game sample size. That's not exact. That's not like it's a 4 or 5 game sample size. It's 21 games. They are dead last in the league with 2.19 goals per game coming into the playoffs. And the other thing here, the shoe's on the opposite foot this time. And what I mean by that, the Lightning went on 3 consecutive deep postseason runs. And you can make an argument that in 2023 and 2024, that caught up to them.
Absolutely, it did.
They looked tired. They looked old. They didn't have another gear to get to. Florida has now gone on 2 consecutive playoff runs where they've played 8 playoff series. Is this the year that it catches up to them? That is what I'm keeping my eye on going into this series because it happens.
You could argue it already has by those numbers you just talked about.
Right. And maybe The Lightning always were able to flip that switch in the playoffs until they couldn't any longer. Maybe Florida has that moment here, but I don't know. I almost like, not to be like really biased and everything, of course want the Lightning to win. I think there's a chance this goes 5. And I feel really confident in the Lightning's ability in this series. I really do. I feel like last year, the disappointment, Kucherov has, to me, just had that look in his eye all year that he's just not going to let what happened last year happen again.
I agree.
think I know the numbers last year will say, well, that was his best season. I think in some ways he was almost better at times this year. I think just the scoring was a little bit more spread out, so that's why he didn't have 140 points, but he's still 121 for crying out loud. So the Gensel acquisition, you're taking him over Steven Stamkos any day of the week at this moment, and that's paid dividends. Hagel and
don't forget about defensively as well.
Yeah, defensively as well. Hagel, and that brings me to Hagel and Cirelli, who have been just an absolute menace together on the power play. The acquisition of Yanni Gourde, Connor Geekie now getting his chance to show, and he played well down the stretch when he got back into the lineup. I don't know. I think
Gage Gonsalves. Gage
Gonsalves has showed his scoring touch. I feel really confident about the Lightning going into the series, and they should too.
I agree with you 100%. It was interesting turning on the TV this weekend and watching the hockey. Does it jump out at you like the level? Like it's ramped up. I mean, it's just a different speed. It's like, okay, there's those 4. The shift has 4, and then there's the one up and to the right. That's 5, right? Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, it's called a stick shift. And we're going up and to the right. It's 5th gear time, and it's a totally different gear. And the Lightning know that. They know how to get there. They know what it takes, especially Ryan McDonagh. And we talk a lot. We talk so much about Gensel, and rightfully so. But who's leading the league in plus minus? Ryan McDonagh.
Yep.
At 36 years of age, is that correct? 36?
Yeah, 36.
Yeah, Ryan McDonagh. And that's no joke. That's no joke. And I think between the additions of Gensel and McDonagh, J.J. Moser, obviously, this is a much better team than that played the Panthers last year, and it's not even close.
This is the best. It's the best team the Lightning have had in 3-4 years.
That without question. Without question. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen now. 8:30 puck drop tomorrow night, kids. 8:30.
Outrageous schedule.
That's a lot of your bedtimes. I get that. So you got to stay for all 3 periods and overtime if it's necessary. Some of you people, you know who you are. All right? Get a nap if you have to. Yeah. Take a nap in the afternoon if you have to.
There's enough time for all you big shots out there with your suits that you still always love to make your way down to the first level and usually sit on your hands sometimes. And I'm calling you all out today because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it tomorrow. You got a lot to live up to. So for you suits that are making your way to that game on Monday night, you got a lot of time to put on a jersey, put on a Lightning hat, put on something. I don't want to see your suit. I don't want to see you without your coat on and your 2 buttons undone and you're open. I don't want to see it tomorrow. I want everybody in a Lightning thing. I don't know what we're passing out to fans, if we're doing the clappers again or if we're doing – I don't know what. But I want to see a thunderous.
I'd like to see some towels. I want to see a lot of towels.
I saw it in Carolina, and it looked awesome. Let's do something special.
It really does.
I know Lightning Vision's going to bring it, and we're going to be ready to roll by the time puck drops. The Lightning are going to be ready. Let's bring it tomorrow. Yeah,
I think Titus let a little cat out of the bag last week when he was on the show that he was in the he's been in the VO room. He's been in the voiceover room getting ready for a little hype video. So. Lightning Vision will have you guys ready. Get there early. Hard not to on an 8:30 puck drop. So, but then we got 6:30 on Thursday. I got 6:30. So you got to got to be in your seats by 6:15, 6 o'clock. That's the one that worries me. Traffic downtown. You got to leave early, folks. Got to leave early. We don't need a half a bowl, lower bowl filled. Come 6:30 on Thursday.
Yeah. As an aside, can I say I'm very happy for the hockey standpoint that the Lightning got this, the home ice advantage, of course. Yes. And also selfishly speaking, and I didn't even think about. I thought about this months ago, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be bad." For those who don't know, the great Alan Jackson is on his retirement tour right now.
Oh,
Great
that's
Alan
right,
Jackson. And I've had tickets to his show here at Emily, and it's this Saturday. And I remember thinking, like, what if the Lightning have to play on that Saturday inside Emily and they cancel the concert? I was like so scared about that. So that's just an aside, and that's just personally a me thing. Very happy that the Lightning get the 2 games at home before then, and the Lightning play on Saturday, I think at 1:30. So it's not going to impact the time for the concert. So I'm very happy, selfishly, for that.
Okay. Well, that's good. I forgot about that. I want to see some Alan Jackson. All right. All right. On to the Rays. So,
oh Lord,
Saturday night was fun. Down 8-4 in the ninth. Chandler Simpson with a little ground rule double. If that ball doesn't go over the fence, probably takes a bad bounce. It's an inside the park home run for his first hit in the major leagues. I was thinking about that. They scored 10 runs. Aranda with the walk-off. And what a season he's having. But this team shut out 3 times in 5 games.
Is that good?
That ain't good. What's weird is when you look at some of the numbers, they're like 5th in batting average.
They are 3rd in batting average with runners in scoring position.
What is that?
I can't even make sense of that.
Well, I think if you throw out the 16 game, those numbers drop dramatically. Probably. I don't know. But the numbers don't fit. What I see, especially against left-handers, Max Fried had a no-hitter. Chandler Simpson, there was a little bit of I don't know if you saw it yesterday. There's a little bit of a discrepancy, a little controversy. Bill Matthews, the scorer, originally, listen, when a guy's throwing a no-no and there's a question whether it's a hit or not, it's an infield hit, I think you have to err to the side of error. If a guy gets a glove on it, I think in the moment you have to err towards the side of an error, right? I think that I don't want to crush the dude. So, because a lot of people are crushing him, and I'm like, hold on a second here. The guy's got a no-no going. You want the first hit to be a clean hit, right? If you're going to score it that way. And also, listen, Chandler Simpson is fast, but they got him on a similar play earlier in the game. Max Fried beat him to the bag. So, you got to make that. You got to make that decision, a split decision. I'm going to err on the side of that's an error if a guy's got a no-no going. So I'm going to give Bill Matthews a little grace here. A lot of people are giving him shit. I'm going to give him a little grace here. All right. So he comes back 2 innings later and scores it a hit. So Max Fried still thought he was working on a no-no. Aaron Boone still thought Nobody checks the scoreboard. Now they'll announce it over the PA in the press box, so they'll know. But they won't announce it over the PA in the stadium, and unless you're like, oh, look, there's a hit up there now, and then you go, oh, well, that must be a mistake because it wasn't called a hit earlier. So they showed the replay. And clearly, from most angles, Chandler Simpson was going to beat him to the bag. So now, of course, it's moot because Mangum gets a clean single in the 8th, and it's over. So it's no big deal. And I don't know. I think it was at that point, or maybe in the half inning before, that Matthews went back and called it a hit. And I think in the end, he got it right. I think it was a hit. Yeah. But people were losing their minds. I'm like, it wasn't that obvious. And in that situation, I got to err towards the no-no. Is that fair?
Yeah, I see your point of view. I mean, it ended up being moot anyway, because literally 2 innings later when they ruled it a hit, the next batter then got a legit hit right up the middle.
Right.
So it ended up being moot anyway, but I guess you could have looked at it as if it was ruled a hit 2 inning right when it happened, would Max Fried have still been in the game in the 8th inning? Probably, because I'll take my chances with that dude against the Rays lineup yesterday. But yeah, you mentioned it, 3 shutouts in 5 days. I mean, we have been treated to it's been rough. This was rough to watch. And when you get a 13-game homestand and you only win 5 games, I mean, if you're trying to be legit this year and you're trying to be a serious team, that just can't happen.
Yeah.
It just cannot happen. And this team, you talk about the splits, and some of the numbers look really good, but it's not exactly lining up to wins right now, and it's really odd. They're hitting 279 against right-handed pitching, which is third in Major League Baseball, but they are hitting 209 against lefties.
Yeah.
209. They just have no answer for left-handed pitching right now. Yeah. And how many times I'm over this, by the way. And I hate to even bring him up because it's not like he's playing every day or anything, but I am so over hearing about every year, oh, this is the year Curtis Mead's going to break out. Just wait, guys. Spring training, he puts on all this weight, and he's just tearing the cover off the baseball. And now we get to the real games, and here we sit. Where's my numbers at? Curtis Mead is hitting 138.
138.
He's hitting 138. And not only that, how many times is Kevin Cash going to continue to put him right in the thick of the order?
Yeah.
I mean, he's hitting fifth yesterday.
Unbelievable.
And granted, like he worked a really good at bat in his first at bat. I think it went like 12 or 13 pitches. Like he's working some better at bats, so maybe that's a sign that he's getting close. But I don't got time to wait for this right now.
No,
I mean he has been an absolute problem for this team. And the catching, Danny Jansen and Ben Rortvedt through 22 games have 8 hits. Jansen's hitting 125, Rortvedt's hitting 095. And whenever they do this lineup where it's Walls hitting 8th and Rortvedt's hitting 9th, you're just giving away free outs. Yeah, and what's crazy is those two dudes seem to always come up with runners all over the base.
Yeah.
And they can't do anything with it.
Yeah. And that's one of the things it's situational, right? It's situational. By the way, this freaking contact play, I'm so over the contact play. I mean, we bring the infield in, we got a runner on third, and what was it, 1-0 game? And 1 out or no outs, contact, and he's once again caught up in a rundown, caught up in a red, like can't even get close to scoring. Like when the ball, if the infield is in and the ball is scorched, you got to freeze. Yeah. Freeze.
The base running has the same as last year. They're just
awful.
Getting out. I mean, was it Morel yesterday? They got picked off at second.
Yes.
Cabby's had it happen. I mean, it's just too
Cabby's been awful on the base. He was the one that did the contact play, I think, the other day.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault. It's like, this is what they do every single time. You take your analytics and shove them up your ass. When you're on third, less than 2 outs, you got to, and a ball is hit hard, especially when the infield's in, you got to freeze. You got to freeze. You don't just give up an out at third base. Then they end up having a runner on second, but it's not as good as a runner on third. And it boggles my mind. I don't freaking get it. And it hasn't worked all year long. I don't know how many guys we've had thrown out at the plate, but it's got to lead the league without question. Yeah, our base running is the point. In a Ronda the other day, nobody out, hits one off the wall. And I know it took a perfect relay throw, but it was another 1-0 game, I believe, at that point. And he's trying to get the third with nobody out.
How about Thursday where Meisner leads off the game with a base hit, and then there was another hit, right? And he tries to run to third on Aaron Judge's arm, but it's like, you don't do that with Aaron Judge out there and right. And you had a chance to just have first and second, no outs, and try to feel good about yourself, and it didn't happen. So yeah, base running's just killing them right now. Yeah,
it's. I know they're feeling like they have to, to push it to score runs, but actually they're hitting the ball pretty well in terms of average. But all the outs on the bases is what's, you look at the numbers like, well, this team shouldn't be this inconsistent in scoring. Part of it is their base running. I guarantee I haven't seen the numbers, but we lead the league in runners out on the bases without question. If you can find that one, Nicky, numbers. I know it's got to be like bad. So I'm kind of over that part of it, and it's just it's what we talk about in terms of quality pitching. When you get good pitchers, like every time they face a better than average pitcher, this team really, really struggles. It's the same old thing. It's like when you're playing on a shoestring budget and you don't have legitimate hitters that can match up against the better pitchers in this league. This is what you get. You'll score your mediocre on mediocre, which there's a lot of in baseball right now, in my opinion. Mediocre on mediocre, they're as good as anybody in the league because they're pretty smart. But when you go up against the best, when you need a great hitter or you need great pitching, Listen, the Rays have been there in pitching. There's no question about that. The pitching's been great.
Well,
but
I don't. I guess that's the thing. I think the pitching. I think it's been decent. I think after a really good
starting
start
pitching's been really good.
I think after a really strong start to the season where they were putting up these historic numbers, I think they've all sort of run into a little bit of trouble lately. And I don't know if it's because, they're having to do so much of the heavy lifting. We knew that was going to happen with the pitching, but even yesterday, I know Ryan Pepio, he ended up being able to battle yesterday and get through 6 and it was okay. But that dude's given up 8 home runs already. He's not locating his stuff really well at the moment. Zach Littell is sort of getting away with giving up a lot of loud contact, and eventually he's not going to have luck with that. Shane Baz got rocked around this week. Now I know that's the only time. Rasmussen has been just phenomenal for this team, and he's only given up 2 runs in 4 starts, so he's been great.
He's been really good.
I think the pitching has been a little bit spotty of late. Now, part of that maybe is the offenses you're facing. You just faced Boston, and then you went right to New York. But it doesn't matter, though, when you score 0 runs in 3 of 5 games. Clearly you can't win that way. And the concerning part is it's early, but there's that saying, it can get late pretty early sometimes. And when you have all these games at home early in the season, that's great, but you got to win them.
5-8.
You got to win them.
On the homestand.
And the Rays are putting themselves into a position where already you have to play catch up. You got to play catch up. You're 5.5 games back of the Yankees for first. You have all these road games later in the season that you're going to have to play, which is going to be tough. It's early, but you don't want to get too far behind. You don't. And now there's only 2 teams in the American League that are worse than you right now, and that's the White Sox and the Twins. And then it's the Rays. You don't have a lot of comfort room right now.
And the thing about it is, when you look at the lineup, does it give you any hope? No.
It's a hard conversation to have because the numbers tell you they're hitting the ball well. They're not striking out, but
they have very little power. They don't hit situationally. They're too aggressive on the base paths. It just looks like they're trying so hard to squeeze the most out of this juice out of the orange, and it's just a little tangerine. There's just nothing there. You got to have some more beef. You got to have some more thickness to this lineup, and the left and right. I kind of get the analytics, but it's not working. It's not worth the lineup that you put out there against left-handers is just it looks like a AAA team, and it is a AAA team, to be quite honest. And Danny Jansen was supposed to be this huge upgrade at the catching position offensively. Hasn't been. Rortvet is terrible offensively, and yesterday, he runs into Aranda, and then they let a foul ball drop between them.
He's not exactly good behind the plate either. So right now he's not giving you any value.
The only thing, if I look forward, I say, okay, so Hassan Kim's coming back, or you're coming back at some point, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be a huge upgrade, hopefully offensively.
Yep.
At shortstop, Danny Jansen.
It helps you against lefties too.
Yes, exactly, big time. And then Jansen's got to be better. Josh Lowe, at this point, can you even count on him at all?
Here's the thing with the outfield, and then I said this: the Rays have some decisions to make when Lowe gets healthy because I can't. Now here I am doing here I am doing the thing with Lau and Lowe.
Yeah,
here I am. But I kept saying it's Meisner and Magnum are good stories, and you're waiting. At some point, you're oh well, that's not going to last too long. But Meisner is still holding steady. Guy's hitting 360 right now, and he's got 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. So Meisner's making a case I don't want to take that guy out of the lineup. And even Jake Magnum, he's got 8 stolen bases, which leads this team. He's beating out ground balls. He's that hustle guy that I want on my roster. Another guy kind of like Chandler Simpson. It's I'm not saying Josh Lowe doesn't have a role on this team or anything. I'm just saying that's one position where they're a little bit beefed up right now. And so I'm curious how they handle that matchup thing. And also all those guys are lefties.
Yeah.
All those guys are lefties.
I know.
So it's gonna be interesting, but those are problems they'll address later. Right now, they just got to stop the bleeding.
They need some right-handed pop in the worst way.
They do. They do. I mean, who you're looking at right now in the lineup? It's Junior.
Yeah.
And then, Yandy right now, Yandy's hitting 222. He's been a little bit better of late, but it hasn't been the Yandy that we're expecting. And then you look up and down that lineup. Jose Caballero, I know the average is good, but he's not a bopper. We know that.
No.
So who else is right-handed? It was supposed. This is why they put so much equity into Curtis Mead to help them, and he's killing them. That's part of the reason why they just
Junior. Junior already you can see teams pitching around him.
Of course. Of course. Morel's got 28 strikeouts, and he started the year where it looked like he was taking more pitches and he was being more patient at the plate, and now it's like he's just gone back to last year's Morel, and he's giving you nothing. And
he's just he swings out of control. He pulls his head every single time.
Yeah.
He just max effort, no control. He's a strikeout machine.
Yeah, Christian Morel was brought to this team to help them hit home runs. Okay, Christian Morel. Now we have a decent sample size here. He's had 68. 70 games with the Rays dating back to last year. He's got 4 home runs and 15 RBIs. And this is the guy. 15
RBIs.
This is the guy that the Rays
He's
traded
in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, and this is the guy that the Rays traded Isak Paredes
for. Yeah,
who was an all-star and has proven that he can hit 30 home runs in this league.
Yeah, nice job. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, and we're going to get into the Bucs. There's some news out there. Adam Schefter putting some things out there regarding the Bucs. According to my sources. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. If you're in an accident, your first call must be to the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Not attorney spokesman, offices Tampa, St. Pete. Back in 3.
Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We will be there again this week. Got to figure out the scheduling, but we'll be over there this week. Somebody said they're looking for a eating hole to go to watch the Bolts and the Rays tomorrow. Well, why not Riveters? Best place to watch sports, no question about it. All the TVs, the food is fantastic. Get there early for the happy hour. Great prices there. Try the buffalo chicken dip. It's amazing. The burgers are fantastic. I tell you what, I had the wings last week. Best wings I've had in I don't know how long. They were fan-freaking-tastic. Nick, I know you love your wings. Have you been to Riveters yet for their wings?
I have been to Riveters, yes. And it is it's great. And here, right on cue, Mario Christian checked out Riveters yesterday, and the spinach and garlic and wings were good. Love
yes. The food's fantastic and always a great place to watch the games. So check it out. Head on over to Riveters. You can do the double dip tomorrow, right? Watch the Rays out on the West Coast and the Lightning with the West Coast start, 8:30 Eastern. So you'll be up late, but it'll be fun. It'll be a great place to watch all the games. Always is. And they'll have the Lightning. They'll have the audio on for the Lightning game as well. So don't worry about that. They'll and then when Lightning are over, they'll put the Rays on. I'm sure. So they can do that. All right. So news on the Bucs. Adam Schefter is reporting that the Bucs have been one of many teams looking to trade down in the first round to get more picks. I think I like where this is headed, to be quite honest, because I think one of the deepest positions in the draft is edge rusher, and I think they, the Pewter Report people, Scott Reynolds. By the way, I'll be co-hosting the Pewter Report podcast today at 4:00 with Scotty. Those programming note right there, and we're going to talk a lot of draft as we're going to talk right now with the Buccaneers. And if they want to move down, Ezaraku is a guy that the defensive player of the year in the ACC. That's someone from Boston College that the Bucs love coming off the edge, and is a guy that is probably going to be there late first round. So if Jason Light wants to move down, he's got a bunch of these edge rushers that he likes, or he likes inside linebacker and can pick up another second, third round pick. I think it's a good move. I like to see him do it. Although part of me also says, if you got a guy there that you think can make a difference this year, I mean, we're in the Super Bowl window. I think we all agreed to that. The Bucs are in a Super Bowl window. If you got a guy there that you really feel can impact you this year, do you really want to trade down?
I think it's tough to even I think Jason Licht even said this. What was it, last week or the week before, when he was asked about the idea of trading down? This draft makes it a little bit difficult because it feels like the consensus is the player that you can get at 10 and 11 and 12 is kind of the same player you can get in the top half of the second round. So that makes it very difficult. Like, what player are teams going to covet that, I need to move up and I need to completely blow up my draft to go get. I think it's going to come down to these quarterbacks, because even though this quarterback class is very weak, there's always going to be teams that are desperate for these guys. And you hear all the stories today. It's like, well, Jackson Dart can go in the first round and Tyler Shuck can go in the first round, but wait, Jalen Milroe might go in the first round. It's like you're hearing all these guys who are completely not first round quarterbacks, but teams do this stuff all the time and they do not learn. So if you're Jason Licht, you're a savvy GM, you know what the hell you're doing. If someone calls you up and you know that they might be wanting to get one of those quarterbacks, I think that's whenever you move down, regardless of who's there. But it's all, they're going to play it by ear. They're going to have to see how the board shakes out. I think there are a handful of players that I would feel pretty confident about if their ability to succeed if the Bucs take them at 19.
Mhm.
But it's sort of interesting as we get closer here, like what position are they going to covet the most? Are they going to go best player available? Jason Licht, I mean, could he be going off the reservation? Because I think this is interesting. Jason Licht loves picking the trenches in the first round. Vita Vea, Tristan Wirfs, Joe Tryon, Kalijah Cansey was a surprise pick out of nowhere. Logan Hall was their first pick in 22, trenches, and then last year was Graham Barton. Are they potentially looking at D tackle? Doesn't look like they're interested in signing Vita Vea long term. You got to think about that. Logan Hall in a contract year. Is that the sneaky position? I don't know.
It could be. I wouldn't. But this isn't a draft that's really deep in defensive tackles, though.
Well, I actually it's really good if you're looking for a run stopper. Yeah, they're all over the place here.
Right.
They're all over the place.
But I just don't. I don't see how you can go away from edge. I just don't. I mean, if you really look at what this team has been missing since JPP and how long they've tried to find one, and they haven't had a premium pick in a long time since what? Devin White, the top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I guess. It's been a while. It's been a while. When you're winning the division, it's hard to get a premium pick. So I just don't see how you pass on that because it's such a missing piece. And obviously Hassan Reddick, you're signed for a year. And people talk, well, if he plays well, you sign him long term. Are you? He's going to be 31, 32. Right. That's not. You need a young kid. You need somebody coming off the edge.
If he performs well, what are you going to do? Pay him $30 million to be not the player that he is now?
Yeah, I don't want to pay a 31, 32-year-old edge rusher.
And also, I mean, listen, the Bucs can say this, and we could say it too, and I think we did. Like, you can try to say, oh, well, last year was just weird with everything that happened with Hassan Reddick. Let's just throw it out. I mean, you could say that, but it happened.
Yeah.
It did happen.
I mean, people are like, well, he wasn't motivated. How can you not be? He knows this was a contract year for him, essentially.
Yeah.
Those last 10 games that he played for the Jets was a contract year.
You can look at it like, oh, he wasn't happy with his contract, and so he decided not to show up. He decided not to play. And then when he got out there, he wasn't motivated. Does that sound – it doesn't exactly sound great. I'm willing to see what happens. I mean, they're only paying him, what, $12 million guaranteed? For a pass rusher of his that has his track record before last year, that's pennies. But I'm not putting all my eggs into that basket. So as we get closer here, I've started to sort of side with, hey, let's take the best edge available if we like one of these guys, because it never hurts to flood the position. It Absolutely. Never does. And the Bucs have been this has been Jason Licht's Achilles heel. He has been unable in the draft to find that impact. I mean, Yaya Diaby, has shown some stuff, but I mean like a true type number one dude. That's been Jason Licht's Achilles heel over the last 11 years.
Yeah. And let's be honest, anything we hear before draft day can be, a smokescreen anyway. So Light's putting it out there and he's calling around to move down in the draft. He's just putting, he's just getting ready for the draft. He needs to find out who's a willing partner. And, the one people have been talking about Jackson Dart, right? You know who I think is sneaky chance to move into the first round? Jalen Milroe. Because I think he's going to be a great quarterback, but I think people see a lot of Jalen Hurts in him, and Jalen Hurts just happened to win a Super Bowl.
Yes, I've heard Cam Ward is a mixture of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and Jalen Milroe is Jalen Hurts. I'm hearing all these things of all these quarterbacks, and it's funny to watch all these analysts do their best to like hype up these quarterbacks because they're not it. They're just not it.
And the other part about that is I just at this point with the emergence of Baker Mayfield, with the emergence of Sam Darnold, with the emergence of Geno Smith, I think to me, and the Bucs have won 2 Super Bowls. Did they draft either one of those quarterbacks? No.
Bucs, all the Bucs' best quarterbacks were brought in via free agency.
Right. So at what point do general managers start saying to themselves, you know what? If I'm the Giants, maybe I should take Abdul Carter. Maybe I should take them a surefire guy that's going to rush the passer, be a beast for hopefully 8 to 10 years, right?
If Joe Shane's on the hot seat, and John Mara's already put that out there. If Joe Shane even dares take Shedeur Sanders with Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter sitting on the board at 3, you should be fired on the spot.
Absolutely. He should already be fired on the spot. But, this is a guy that's just tailor-made to overdraft the quarterback. No question about it. Cam Ward, look, people are saying, oh, he's a surefire. Really? Cam Ward, he throws well off platform. He doesn't have the prototypical size to be a number 1 overall quarterback draft, in my opinion. He doesn't, he's not far removed from being a turnover machine. If you watched him play at Miami, it was a lot of improvisation and a lot of very he had a very good situation. There weren't the greatest defenses in the world.
If Cam Ward had gone to Florida State, is he even in this discussion right now?
No, he'd be dead. He would not have survived the year. No, absolutely not. And that's the thing. It's like he went to a really good situation with some good receivers, a good offensive line. Yeah, he was in a very good situation in Miami. No question about it. How you could say he's a surefire number 1 overall pick. If I'm the Titans, I'd draft Abdul Carter.
See, if I was the Titans, I would try to have an agreement, with, I know it's tough. Like if you're Brian Callahan, you just got the first overall pick in year 1, you do it again 2 years in a row. That makes it really hard to keep you. I would try to have some agreement where it's like, listen, I know that we're probably going to have to trot out Will Levis again next year, and that's going to suck.
Yep.
But we are potentially passing on 2 generational talents here to take a quarterback just because we need a quarterback. And I don't know if he's an actual true number 1 type guy.
No.
It's a risk.
If I'm a GM, unless this guy, and look at even Trevor Lawrence, and I'll say he's been to a very bad situation. Starting your career with Urban Meyer's your head coach is as bad as it gets, all right, in the NFL and with that organization. But unless you have that type of talent and size and ability and track record, I'm not drafting you with the first overall pick or the first when these other guys are on the board. I'll go find a quarterback that I've watched play in this league that has gone to a bad organization, like a Baker Mayfield, like a Sam Darnold, like a Geno Smith, and I'll go find a guy and put him behind a really good offensive line and with some really good receivers.
And that's why Tom Brady, he's basically, let's be honest, he's calling some shots in Las Vegas.
Right.
It's not surprising to me that the Raiders have the number 6 overall pick. If they wanted Shedeur Sanders and they were in love with him and they loved the idea of bringing Shedeur to Las Vegas and it always seemed like a great fit, right? Tom Brady, I'm sure, had a big role in saying, we're going to go get Geno Smith. Yeah. I know I like veteran quarterbacks and I'm not taking my chances with these rookies. And we have a veteran head coach in Pete Carroll. You see what the Giants have done by signing Jameis and Russ. And listen, I don't think I don't know. That's probably not going to work out, but I think if they were so in love with Shedeur Sanders, would they have signed both of them?
No.
Probably not.
No.
So some of these teams are telling you and showing their hand here of how they feel about these quarterbacks.
Well, and Tom Brady has worked with Shedeur Sanders. Tom Brady has a connection with Shedeur Sanders.
Right. So in theory, it seems like it would have been a great fit. And now it's like, I don't think the Raiders are taking Shedeur. I don't think it's even a question right now.
No. And because they have so many holes to fill.
Right.
They have so many holes to fill.
And when you get Pete Carroll, who's 73 years old, guess what? Even though you're not a good team right now, well, suddenly you've now opened up a win now window.
Yeah, exactly. So I would caution.
If the Saints want to fall over themselves and take one of these quarterbacks, by all means, have at it.
Yeah, talk about a team with holes to fill, and they just lost Ryan Ramczyk.
Yep.
Who retired, who Ali Marpeted them and retired.
Yeah, a lot of injuries, though. He hadn't played a lot of football the last few years, I think. So, unfortunate, because dominant right tackle when healthy. But that's the thing. The Saints are old. The Saints are still expensive. They're still signing players in free agent who are over 30. I don't know what they're doing. Derek Carr might not play, I hear.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Saints downfall.
They are in trouble. They still got a Super Bowl roster, Cam? You still got a Super Bowl roster?
Oh, top 2 in the league, right?
Top 2 in the league, yeah.
Top 2 in the league.
All right, let's go to some comments here. Yeezy says a Rays stink. Thank God for the Bolts and Bucks keeping us sane. Football can't be here soon enough. Yeah, I think this Rays season is going to be bad. I mean, at this point, Nick, I mean, I don't. You go 5-8 on this homestand, the beautiful weather. The Red Sox, Angels, Yankees. I mean, the Yankees, yeah, but I don't know. I don't
know. My gut tells me they're probably going to end up somewhere along where they were last year, just sort of right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a 500 team. Unless something, it would be awesome. You know, a lot of people have been asking me on Twitter what's going on with the sale. The people that I'm talking to are basically, and by the way, the Tampa Bay Business Journal had I think it was on Friday or Saturday, they put out a piece basically confirming the reporting that I have been telling you guys, that Stu wants $2 billion for the team. It's valued at 1.25. So what's holding up the sale? A ridiculously stubborn owner. That's what's holding up the sale. And I'll repeat this. When I put out that video a month and a half ago, whatever it was, I never said the deal was done. That was a headline that the people who retweeted reposted my video put on there. I never said that. What I said was that there is a group that has the money. Major League Baseball is pressuring Stu to sell the team. They want it done as quickly as possible so they can get on with expansion. But essentially, it's up to Stu Sternberg when and if he sells the team. So, if you put the math together, they're willing to pay well over what it's, quote, valued at for the asset. Most places, owners, like if the Twins were offered when they were for sale, and we had that story a long time ago as well. If they were offered what the Rays are being offered right now, and they're valued more by Forbes than the Rays, that deal would be done because they have reasonable owners who really want to sell the team. And whereas Stu Sternberg is here, odds $2 billion for a team that's worth 1.25. So how much more pressure can Major League Baseball put on Stu Sternberg? We will see. How long does it take for him to accept an offer for a team that's well over what it's worth? We shall see. All I can tell you is they have the money. They have the money to get the stadium done. They want to do the deal and build it in Tampa. Everything is in order. Major League Baseball has vetted them. They love this ownership group. They want it to happen. Everything is in place. And once again, one guy is holding up the whole deal. All right? Holding up Major League Baseball expansion for Raleigh, Portland, Nashville, whatever. Holding up all those cities, holding up Tampa for redevelopment, holding up St. Pete for redevelopment, holding up the whole thing. So at some point, hopefully enough pressure is brought to bear and this deal gets done. But when exactly it happens, I don't know. I don't control that. But I can tell you everything is in place for it to happen in a reasonable amount of time. I know Major League Baseball wants this to happen as soon as possible, hopefully before the All-Star break, because they need to get it done for many, many reasons. All right, what else we got here? Mike Holcomb, good morning to you, says, please tell me this is the first time in Rays history they have been shut out 3 times out of a 5-game stretch. Actually, the last time it happened was 2017. Ashley, my wife, says she's a Vegas fan. This is disgusting. I know, she's a Vegas Knights fan. She likes the Dragon at the Fortress. Oh. Yeah, it's great if you're going to Universal. It's a freaking hockey game. It's a hockey game. We don't have dragons. Sorry. John Hill says, congrats to JT for his first PGA win with his family. What a win yesterday.
Yeah, I was watching that live yesterday. Awesome putt. 21-foot birdie to go in. First one.
Right in the middle. And of course, the one he made on 16? Is it 16 or 17? Another like a 26-footer. I think it was 16, the par 5. Yeah. And Novak hits 2 great shots on 18 in regulation. And had it, 10 feet?
Yeah.
And just yanked it.
Hooked it.
Oh, my God. That putt was bad. So he hits it 10 feet. It's driver wedged to 10 feet on 18 on a 470-yard hole. Just ridiculous. Actually, I think he hit 3-wood.
Yeah.
3-wood wedge on a 470-yard hole.
And I saw this like crazy stat too about this. So Justin Thomas goes 3 years without winning. And remember, like his game had fallen off so bad the year after to where like he made the Ryder Cup and everybody was like, why is Justin Thomas on the Ryder Cup? Like it got to that point, remember?
Right, exactly.
And now Justin Thomas, though, with that 3-year losing streak that he had, we forget he's only 31 years old still.
Yeah.
And I saw this stat that he joined this company since 1960. Only 7 players have had 16 wins on the PGA Tour and multiple majors before age 32. Their names are Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Johnny Miller, Tom Watson, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and now Justin Thomas.
How about that?
It doesn't even feel like that, does it? Because he went 3 years without winning, but he's only 31, and look at the achievements he has.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that because it's been 3 years since he's won.
Right. And he's up to number 8 in the official world golf ranking. He's only going to climb. He's second behind Rory in the FedEx Cup. And now he's going to be a shoo-in for the Ryder Cup this year.
Yeah. He's good for golf.
He's got his game back again.
It's great for golf to have JT back. He almost should have won Valspar.
He won the Valspar, yeah.
Should have won Valspar.
He's got 5. He had 3 second place finishes this year before yesterday.
Yeah. Mario Christian says the only salt shack that I could go to is on Claremont. Can't necessarily go to the one in South Tampa because it's packed all the time.
It is a nightmare to park there too sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeezy says I'll be there tomorrow, 8:30. Start kind of ridiculous for a Tuesday. I get it, no question. Mario says they could have played a game on Saturday or Sunday instead of waiting till Tuesday. I'm kind of glad they waited till Tuesday, to be quite honest. I needed a little bit of a break. I think the teams did too. But Matthew Tkachuk is going to play. He said he's ready for game 1. So, well, he kind of said he was ready for game 1. So we'll see. Yeezy says Gensel will be the MVP for the series. You got Gensel?
He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Forget that.
I'm going to go with Gensel's a good pick. I like Gensel. I'm going to go with Hagel.
Are you stealing my notes over here? What is this?
Oh, there you say you got Hagel
too. I think Brandon Hagel he is in many ways the engine of this team. He is the engine of this team, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. In kind of a listen, Kucherov's the MVP of the team. Let's not get it twisted.
I just feel like with all the different things that Hagel does, to impact the game.
Yeah. Mario Christian says, I hope the Magic can stretch the series to 5 or 6 games. It took the Cavs to 7 games a season ago.
Yeah,
well, it didn't look like it yesterday.
Yeah, the Cavs team yesterday or last year is not the Celtics this year. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. They don't match up with them.
No, Paolo does. I mean, he friggin' dropped 36 yesterday, shot over 50% from the field. Franz does Franz, but after that, it's
slim pickings.
It's a little thin. Thin for my Magic.
For the 13-game homestand, says Mario Christian, I was hoping for the Rays to get 8 wins, not 8 losses like they just did. Angels and Red Sox series was disappointing. Yeah, agreed. I just don't. It's a pedestrian roster. Let's just be honest. The pitching is good. The roster is awful. It just is.
Well, you always said, and we said this last year. Who you fear in that lineup?
Oh, Caminero.
You fear Junior Caminero. You may have, and right now you kind of fear. I mean, Aranda is getting to that point. I mean, the guy is top 5 in like every hitting category. But even the other guys, it's like, yeah, I can pitch. I'm not scared to pitch to them. You know.
And if we only got 2 guys in the lineup, it's pretty easy to pitch around them.
Yeah,
it's easy. Rick says stubborn Cooch sounds like my ex-wife. Less scoring than the Rays. Rick. Easy like that, Rick. You like that. Sergio Biltres says, good morning, gents. The Rays are awful to watch. Go Bolts. That's the other part of it. I mean, yeah, they're 8-13, but they are boring to watch. Good God. Thank God they're not in the Trop. Jeez, oh Pete's. It'd be a nightmare. Can you imagine that if they were in the Trop this year? Like the Angels series would have been like 3,000 people total. Red Sox would have been all Red Sox fans.
It would have been the same attendance. It would have been the same attendance they have every night at Steinbrenner, but it would have been hearing echoes and everything on the TV.
Exactly. Yeah. Jeremy Lowe says, I got my Hedman shirt ready for tomorrow night. All right. Get it. Let's get ready. Learn how to spell that too. Watch your mouth, son, unless you wear a Bolt suit jacket. Yeah, I think John's got that lightning blazer. I like that.
The Greg Wolf wears it sometimes.
That counts.
That counts. That counts. But please don't wear your Joseph A. Bank when you're sitting down there on TV. Please don't.
Jeremy says Mead needs to go play Aranda full time. I'm with that. I mean, Jesus, let's get it. I mean, I'd much rather have Aranda, even if he's hitting like 175 against lefties. Like, just put him in there. I can't watch Curtis Mead anymore. JP here, Jason Light willing to move down. Of course, that's out there, which means it's just smokescreen. I think if that edge rusher is there that they want, they should not pass on him at 19. Because what are you picking up? What are you gonna pick up? An extra third of somebody moving up? In a draft that's kind of deep with third rounders, you can get starters, but I don't know.
I will say there's a lot of, if you follow a lot of the draft analysts, the most popular position that I feel like I've seen the Bucs being mocked to take has been safety.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I'm just sitting here like, I'm not trying to discredit any of the work these guys do and the film they watch or anything like that, but it's like, it takes a minute of research to see that they are dead set on they want to move Tyke Smith to safety. So why would at that point you take a safety in the first round?
Yeah, I don't see that.
You're just looking to find a nickel, and of course you're going to find that in the middle rounds.
I think what happens is some of these national pundits, they look at the roster and they go, "Oh, a Whitehead started at safety. He's no longer with the team, so they have a hole there."
And the best one is that this player that I've seen mocked a lot, and every time I see it, I just sort of like X out, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is incredible." Is that Nick Emanwori from South Carolina? And it's like everybody's falling in love with him because of his physical traits, but you watch him on film, he doesn't he's not the greatest tackler. He looks like he's stuck in mud sometimes. And he's better like towards the line of scrimmage than he is playing at safety. So I'm like, that makes no sense at all. And I have not heard at all that the Bucs are even anywhere in on him.
The 29th worst pass defense does not need a safety that plays near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. This is not, we don't need a thumper. This is not the 90s anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Douglas Petita says, was at the Rays game on Friday, wasted a great start by the Rays. They're batting .205 against lefties. It's awful. Cabby getting picked off is a no-no. They're so bad on the bases. So bad. Cash is not 100% doing the lineup, says Todd Casper. I don't even think that's arguable. He's right. No baseball person, nobody who's played the game would continue to put Curtis Mead in that spot. Nobody who's played the game has taken out Jonathan Aranda for Curtis Mead. There have been so many moves that Cash has made this year. I just shake my head and I'm like, I don't even know how can analytics even back this up at this point?
It almost feels like, I don't know, this year it almost feels like they've been almost too analytical.
Oh my God, yes.
Which is weird to say that. They've always used analytics, and I'm not like against analytics or anything, but we always say the best thing you could judge it by is what your two eyes are showing you. And I think sometimes they've lost sight of that.
Yeah. Rick says Curtis Mead needs diamond cleats to hit better. Well, at least some cubic zirconia. Yes. Or a torpedo bat or something. All right. Mike Stover is going to take umbrage with you and say WrestleMania was decent.
He said decent.
Which WrestleMania should never be decent. Like Monday Night Raw can be decent. WrestleMania can't be decent.
WrestleMania is the show of shows. It is what you wait for. It is the and be all weekend. And decent is not good enough.
Right. Save that for after the break.
Yes.
Judge should have had a home run.
Yeah.
I know the replay that they showed wasn't down the line, so it can trick you. But Jiminy Christmas, that was a home run.
That might have been a case of them because of the park they played in that kind of impacted that whole thing.
Yeah, and the Yankees can't even bitch about it. I think Judge did call it a minor league park, so foul poles don't go up high enough.
Was it Judge a few years ago? Was he the one who hit the ball off the speaker at the Trop, and they didn't rule that a home run too? And the Yankees were like going nuts. Remember that when he hit the speaker?
Yeah, you're right. You're right, 100% right. Harvey Riles says, as long as El Cheapo's name is at the bottom of the checks, expect more of the same. 100% right. There's no team in baseball that would have gone into this season with a pitching staff like this and not gone and added some legitimate hitters. Nobody.
Well, they're not the only one. Granted, the Mariners are playing better baseball this year than we thought, but the Mariners had what people thought was the best pitching staff, and then they did nothing to supplement it on offense.
Yeah.
They're playing a lot better than the Rays are right now, but it's sort of like the same concept. I know the Pirates are never good, but the Pirates have, Paul Skeens, and they made one free agent signing this offseason, and Paul seems like he's getting fed up. So there are some other examples of teams. A lot of teams are just not spending anymore.
Right, and whose fault is that?
To me, it's the owners. And
who are they taking after? Stu Sternberg.
Yeah, you could make the argument that because of the way the Rays have done things, other teams have gone, oh, we can try to do the same thing.
Hell yeah.
Remember Boston when they hired Chaim Bloom and they immediately got rid of Mookie and everything, and they thought they could play that way? And that shit doesn't fly in Boston.
No.
It didn't.
It doesn't need to.
Now Boston's spending money again.
Yeah, it doesn't need to because you have the money to pay for the players. Like, why would you try to do it on a cheap if you don't have to? Unless you have an incredibly greedy ownership group like we do. Or the Pirates do, or, it's a trend that the Players Association, I think, is willing to go to the mat for. And I think you're going to see, obviously we got lockout strike coming or whatever. One of the things I think Major League Baseball Players Association is going for is a floor. And I think the owners would do well to approve that.
Yeah. Did you see in free, is it good that it's not a good thing? In free agency every year, you have guys that are not signing until mid-March and they're having to settle for a 1-year deal, or in Pete Alonso's case, why did it take so damn long to sign Pete Alonso to a contract?
Ridiculous.
It's nobody wanted to give him a contract. And what does he do? This year he's hitting .346. He leads Major League Baseball in RBIs. He's just casually going along as the MVP favorite right now in the NL, probably. And
what did he get? He got 2 years, 46, right?
He got 2 years, something like that. But obviously he wanted a long-term deal and he didn't get it. Bregman, it took forever for Alex Bregman to get his contract before going to Boston. Remember Blake Snell last year, a year after winning the Cy Young, is unsigned until after the season starts or spring training began? Yeah. That's not good for anybody.
And the Soto deal is just so out of the norm. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I guess the guy they replaced him with, what's his name? Anyway, their numbers, I think he's got better numbers than Soto this year.
The Yankees?
Yeah.
I think it's Grisham.
Brain farting on that one, yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Nick's going to tell us about WrestleMania. I have a friend of mine who's been there all week and going to all the events. I've been following him on Facebook, and I looked up some of the numbers as far as how much these tickets cost. It's oh my God. Oh my God. So we'll get into that. Evidently, though, they couldn't afford The Rock. Whatever it was, they couldn't afford The Rock. All right. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Get that insurance checkup. Make sure you have your business insurance. Make sure you have your flood insurance. That's a big one as well. And price out your homeowner's insurance. They might be able to save you some money. 813-877-7799. The best customer service in the business, Italiano Insurance. Back at 3.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Diamond Days are back at the Gold and Diamond Source, Tampa Bay's largest jewelry superstore. You know, I love Diamond Days because right now you can get up to 20% off all the diamonds in the inventory, including April's birthstone. Plus, you can take advantage of 0% financing for up to 5 years. This means that if you finance $5,000, your monthly payment would only be $83. Best of all, your Gold and Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. And listen up, all soon-to-be newlyweds, here's your chance to win a $2,500 shopping spree at the Gold and Diamond Source, along with a wedding cake for up to 100 guests, created by the renowned celebrity chef, The Cake Girl, as seen on the Today Show. Entering is easy. Simply visit the Gold and Diamond Source on Omerton Road for your chance to win big. If you want your special someone to say yes, make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond. Visit us at 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream.
All right, welcome to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on this Monday of a big week in Tampa Bay sports. The Bucs will draft out the big draft party on Thursday night at Ray J. That should be fun. Obviously, the Rays are out of town. They're finally on the road, a little West Coast road trip. And, of course, the Lightning, Game 1 coming up Tuesday night at 8:30, and Game 2, 6:30 on Thursday night. Then it switches to Florida. We're brought to you, by the way, by On-Site Construction. Great folks over there. If you're looking to do some restoration, some repairs at your home after the flood and the hurricane because the first contractor you hired didn't get the job done, they're the folks to go to. They are reputable. They've done over 1,400 jobs in this area, 25 years of experience. They have over 40 artisans to work on your home, not just construction folks, but people who know what they're doing and are experienced at doing it. They also do brand new construction if you want to buy a lot, which lot prices are actually going down in South Tampa, and build from the ground up. They can do that. Anything you need in terms of construction, whether it be residential or commercial, onsiteconstructionfl.com is the website, onsiteconstructionfl.com. Go check out the website. It's really, really nice. Got some great pictures of the work they've done, and it's absolutely beautiful. On time and on budget. Read all their 5-star reviews, onsiteconstructionfl.com. All right, let's get this WrestleMania shenanigans over. So I'm looking at this. Well, first of all, the setup that they had in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium was just insane. Insane. I watched a little bit of it, but it's kind of a slow watch. I got to tell you, Nick. You know, they bring people out. There's a lot of clapping and there's a lot of talking going on. Not a lot of wrestling. Not a lot of wrestling going on.
Yeah. You noticed that too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when
as the first time, like I've never really tuned into a WrestleMania. So Ashley and I, we turned it on and we're like, okay, El Grande Americano's coming out. And I think, did I get that right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You got it.
Yeah. It was just like, after a while, it was like 10 minutes without anything happening. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
WrestleMania is a spectacle, as they always, I sound like PR for them now. It's a spectacle. And they try to make it as big as possible. And it's a show. At the end of the day, this is sports entertainment. It's a show. And, you have the big elaborate setup, which the setup looked beautiful. The stage I'm talking about.
Oh, it was incredible.
One of the best stages they've ever had. You have the long ramp. And of course, everybody's milking it. And you usually have your special entrances, your special gear and everything for Mania. I get all that. But when I have a million multi-man matches on this show, like we had, at some time it's like, let's get to the ring. Let's get to the ring and let's go. Let's stop delaying this. And that happened a lot. But no, the crux of my issue with this show, and again, for those who don't know, WrestleMania is 2 nights now. So you have night 1 on Saturday, night 2 on Sunday. But the match that everybody was waiting for was the main event last night, Cody Rhodes versus Mr. John Cena, who, if you're not a wrestling fan, everybody knows who John Cena is.
Yes.
The quick backstory here, Tampa Bay Zone. The quick backstory, John Cena, this is his last WrestleMania. He's retiring at the end of the year. This is his last WrestleMania. Before last night, he had 16 world championships, so he was tied with Ric Flair for the most championships all time. He was going for that. We talked about it a couple months ago. He turned heel for the first time in his career, aligned himself with The Rock, and it was this great moment. I put it over to the moon. And then the build to Mania happened. And it's all about the build. You gotta build this thing right and make it to where I can't wait to see these matches. And the build for many of these matches was so subpar. It's like they just phoned it in. And we finally got to this match, and it was like, okay, well, when they get in the ring, it's all going to be worth it because we expect The Rock to show up. The Rock did not show up at all after the last pay-per-view where he aligned himself with Cena. Expected him to be here.
How could he not show up?
And he didn't show up. He didn't show up. And I got a major problem with this because this storyline was built on The Rock coming out and John Cena aligning with him. The moment they had the heel turn, the heel turn that was talked about on ESPN, for crying out loud. Everybody was talking about it. How in the world does The Rock not show up at all and even get involved in the story that he created, that he was a main character in? And what happened yesterday is John Cena and Cody Rhodes are having I think a pretty good match. It's a little bit slower pace, but John's 47, never going to be a blistering pace type of deal. But the crowd is into it. It's great. And all of a sudden, ref bump happens. And so when the ref bump happens and he's down and he's flopping all over the place, someone's coming out. Everybody thinks it's The Rock. And you know what hits? Travis Scott's music hits.
Travis Scott.
Freaking Scott. And Travis Scott does this full entrance. I mean, a full entrance. And you want to talk about taking your time?
Is he a wrestler now?
Yeah, I think he wants to be. We're in the middle of the main event of WrestleMania. And Travis Scott gets a full entrance, and you want to talk taking your time? I swear he took 5 minutes to get to the ring. Just completely the match. It's like, I don't even know what Cody was doing during this entire time. Was he talking to fans? Was he hiding under the ring? I don't know what he was doing. Nothing's happening with Cody, but he gets to the ring. He has his little interaction with Cody. Cody hits him with his finisher, and that whole distraction opens it up to where John hits Cody in the nuts with his, he kicks him in the nuts, and then he hits him with the belt. And he covers them 1, 2, 3, and John wins. Horrible.
That was it?
That was it. Horrible. So John Cena wins his 17th championship by cheating, which I don't have necessarily a problem with because he's a heel. Okay, I got that.
Right.
But no Rock. The interference was from a non-wrestler who weighs like 140 pounds, and The Rock is nowhere to be found. And so Cody Rhodes, who beat Roman last year, breaking a 1,316-day championship reign, the longest of the modern era. Now Cody's reign ends because of interference by a 140-pound rapper. Are you kidding?
That's bad writing. That's
Are you
bad
kidding
writing.
me? It's horrible.
It's horrible writing.
I couldn't believe it. And The Rock's just, got his feet up, in a what do you call it? One of those hammocks in Hawaii, in Maui or whatever, not doing anything. It's like, why did you come back if you're not intending on following through with the story? Because now it makes no sense. It makes zero sense, and I'm out. I'm out. As much as last year's WrestleMania ending made me feel awesome to be a professional wrestling fan, yesterday made me feel like I'm embarrassed to be a professional wrestling fan. Everything yesterday just made me hate it, all of it.
So in the real world, I hate to say this, but in the real world, what happened? I don't know how this works. Did they not come to an agreement for him to participate? Is this part of the story to elongate it?
Let me tell you.
All I know is if I paid $25,000 for one of those seats on the couch, and with bottle service and all that shenanigans, I'd be really pissed off.
Yes,
$25,000 for a seat.
For as much as they charge for you to go out to Vegas, it was Easter Sunday. They did WrestleMania on Easter freaking Sunday, which I don't understand that. For all that, and to get what we got last night, it was an absolute joke. It was an absolute joke. And The Rock, the problem is The Rock obviously has his movie commitments and he's doing a million things, but he is now on the WWE board of directors. And the problem is when The Rock tells them, hey guys, I'm going to come back tomorrow, it's like everybody has to scramble to come up with a story for The Rock. They do the business that night, but then he never comes back. And so it's just dropped. It's a plot hole. It's a plot hole in the story now.
So he's on the board of directors?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
Yes. So basically they answer to him. When The Rock says, yeah, I'm coming in tonight, they have to scramble, come up with a story, and then he doesn't come back and follow through on it. And that's not a way to do business.
No.
And as a fan, I'm insulted. I'm absolutely insulted with The
Rock.
So
what is is this the general feeling among wrestling fans? They're very disenchanted.
This was yesterday. It really just sucked the life out of the entire weekend. And it was already like not the greatest WrestleMania. Like the listener said, it was decent. That ruined it for me. And everything, like you mentioned, like everything now has a sponsor to it. It's like, this match is brought to you by Minute Maid, and this match is brought to you by Prime Energy, and this match is brought to you by Steve Ford. It's so commercialized now. And the whole Travis Scott moment, they just want to get their social media views and they want to be in the mainstream so bad for people to talk about it. But you know what that does? It alienates wrestling fans because we don't care. We don't care about the celebrities that come in to the world.
Wow.
We don't care.
No, I mean, Travis Scott. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Travis Scott? Can't even have Kendrick Lamar? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? That's bad. All right.
There you go. Rant over.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know. I was looking for anybody out there. We'll get back to some of the other comments here. Anybody want to talk?
This was part of it too. Jordan G said, imagine paying thousands for front row seats at Mania, and then you take a flop Vlade Divac would be proud of when Stone Cold barely hits the barrier on his ATV. This was the other thing yesterday.
Okay.
Stone Cold comes out to like announce the attendance, pop the crowd, whatever. And his music's playing for a long time. It's Stone Cold. You don't see him. And then all of a sudden, he just appears out of nowhere, and he's on his ATV. He rides to the ring in his four-wheeler. And Stone Cold he's definitely intoxicated. There's no doubt about that. He's like going around the ring like he always does. Well, he loses control of the four-wheeler, and he crashes into the barrier ringside. And you see this like female fan go, ooh! She like falls back onto the ground, like does like a complete flop. And she definitely is the big winner of the event because when Stone Cold was done, you saw the president of the company, Nick Khan, talking to the female fan and definitely trying to say like, yeah, we don't need a lawsuit. Please don't sue us. So she's definitely going to get whatever she wants. But yeah, Stone Cold ran it into there. And then we saw the video earlier of what happened, why it took so long for him to come out. He drove his ATV. He was supposed to go up the ramp from the side. He completely missed the ramp. They had to back him up, and then he had to do it again. So I think Stone Cold was drinking and driving a little bit yesterday.
Oh, God. Jeez, old Pete.
So there you go.
It was a disaster. So
it was not a great night.
Rick says El Grande Americano. I think I had that at Starbucks this morning. Yeah. And you paid as much as they did for those front row seats for your coffee.
Oof.
I think I went to a Starbucks. I haven't been to a Starbucks in forever. I think the last time I went there, like with tip, I walked out like $9 for a coffee, and I'm like, that's it. So I'm not doing this again. What's ridiculous?
Oh yeah,
I'll go to Dunkin' and get the same thing for $2.75.
I kid you not. There's
They'll
like
make it at home even better.
There's probably a few Saturdays a month, JP, and you know where I live. This is not close by, but me and Case will get up and we'll drive all the way to the Davis Island Coffee Bar. And, and we always get our coffees. I get my thing They give you the what do you call it? The Cuban toast, and it's like $2.99, and they give you they give you a very generous portion of it. Yes. We share it. Coffee's not expensive at all, and it's a great vibe. You might run into a Lightning player. Don't bother them. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Don't tell anybody about the Davis Island Coffee Bar.
You're right. We got to gatekeep that. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So you're gonna ruin it. You're gonna ruin it. Unless they start advertising, we ain't talking about them. Because that's Davis Island in general. You know, I'm not gonna say it's a secret, but the village there, great restaurants.
It's one of the only places in Tampa that is, for whatever reason, is never like crazy crowded.
Shh. Golly, dude. You know how many thousands and millions of people are watching this show? Oh, Michael LaRue says Hassan Kim can't get fast enough. Listen, when we're like banking on a career 250 hitter to save us from the shutout,
save me, Hassan. Save me.
I mean, he's not a slugger though. Y'all, this is why y'all were touting like, oh, we got Danny Jansen. I'm like, okay. He ain't Punch Rodriguez, bro.
He's not the big dumper over in Seattle.
I mean, what are we doing? We got Danny Jansen, man. Whoa. I'm like, okay.
He's gonna hit 230 for us.
I remember when they first announced this, and I'm looking at it on Twitter, and I'm like, whoa, Danny Jansen. I'm like, yeah, I've heard of him. He's pretty good. Yeah, like, wow, I didn't know he was that good offensively because people were freaking out like we just freaking signed Johnny Bench. And then I'm looking at his numbers. I'm like, yeah, he's a $7 million a year catcher. That's about what he is. Yeah, okay, he's an upgrade, but what are we upgrade of what?
Yeah, he's got a hell of a pick back there, man. Balls don't get past him.
Woo! What is the Nicky numbers this morning on Jansen and Rortvet as a tandem? That's the slugging duo.
8 hits. 8 hits. I wonder what their combined slugging is.
What? Come on, look it up.
I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on.
All right, I'll do some more.
Get to another comment.
Michael LaRue, good morning to you. Says Baruch Schneer, the only Lightning player missing from practice this morning. Looks like everyone else will be good to go for game 1. That's good for to have Glenn Denning back. We need him. Face-offs are going to be very, very important. He's at like 55%. Got to have him.
Oh, Lord. Danny Jansen is slugging a cool 208. Get ready for this one. Ben Rortvet.
And he's the good one.
Yeah.
He's the good one.
Ben Rortvet is slugging 0.95. Same as his batting average.
Oh, my God. It's so bad. It's so bad. There's so many holes in this lineup.
They have 8 combined hits. Danny Jansen has 57 at-bats, and Rortvet has 26. So what do you have, 80-plus at-bats, and they have 8 hits?
Like, that's not even – I mean, you could get 2 AAA guys that could do better than that. Like, these are Major League Baseball players, supposedly.
What did Alex Jackson hit last year? Was he surpassing this?
I think it was like a stout 185.
Because, like, granted, my excitement for Danny Jansen was for the fact that he couldn't be worse than Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson hit 122 in 155 at bats. I don't know if we're gonna get to that level, but yeah, I don't. What is it? What's the curse? The Buster Posey curse is just like that thing's real. That thing is real.
It's in full force. Yeah.
Like, my goodness, one half season of Wilson Ramos and a couple years of Mike Zunino. We thought we had it. We thought we were back, and boy, oh boy, we are down in the dump again at that position.
I saw Toby Hall the other day, and I'm like, you think maybe you could come back for a few? His son's playing AAA baseball, and he's still the best catcher we've had.
Yeah, Toby Hall was a career 262 hitter. I would do so many things to see a race catcher hit 262.
Are you kidding me? It's all-star level. My God. All right, let's talk a little. Guys want to talk. Richie P wants to talk some draft. So let me try this again. Tom McShay saying there's going to be a run on defensive ends, defensive tackles. Throw in Campbell and Jalen Walker into that run between pick 4 and 11 because the wide receivers, tackles, and quarterback talent is subpar. I would not see. Todd McShay is a lot smarter than most GMs, though. This is my only hope, though, Richie P. We're going to overdraft the quarterbacks. So they're going to start panicking, and Jalen Milroe's going 17th overall. Jackson Dart's going 12. I mean, if there's more than one quarterback or more than two quarterbacks taken in the first round, that's going to be fantastic for the Buccaneers. And it happens. It just happens every year. It happens every year.
He had 6 go last year in the first round.
Ridiculous.
And granted, those quarterbacks were all, JJ. Well, who was the last one to go? I think was it JJ?
Look that up, will you? And just go through the first round. Quarterback.
We had Caleb, we had Daniels, May,
Caleb,
Penix, Nix, McCarthy.
Yeah. Okay.
I think JJ McCarthy would go first overall in this draft.
No, Jalen Daniels would. If you're redrafting?
No, I mean if you plop JJ McCarthy in this year's draft.
Oh yeah,
he's going number 1, no questions, probably.
Yeah.
And I thought he was the last one taken last year. I think
Bo Nix was the biggest surprise.
Yeah,
probably,
Bo Nix
right?
was the surprise. Yeah,
and he had arguably the second best season.
Correct.
Behind the rookie there, Jaden Daniels. So,
you could say Penix was the actual shock. That was the one where when that happened, everybody was like, "Whoa!" As much as we liked Penix, we didn't see 8, and we didn't see that team taking him.
True. Absolutely, yeah. But I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in this league, but maybe not at Atlanta.
Shame he has to be in the division, man. I want to root for him.
Me too, of course. Love that kid. Get him out. Yeah, trade him, will you? Trade him so you can get your money's worth out of Kirk Cousins, please.
Please.
James says, I have zero interest watching this team as long as Stu is still owner. He makes Culver House look like Eddie DeBartolo. I don't disagree, partner. Let's see what else. Breaking news, Cooper Flagg declares for the NBA draft. Is that breaking news?
There was some scuttlebutt. Does he want to play for the Washington Wizards, or does he want to go back and continue making his sweet NIL?
Yeah. I've always said this. Given the choice, and I learned this from covering Tim Duncan back in the day when he was at Wake Forest. And he said most players, if they had the choice, would stay in school because they don't want to go to the NBA and play with a bunch of grown-ass men. They love the college experience. But, the NBA gave them no choice. If you didn't get drafted, you didn't come out after a year, everybody thought there was something wrong with you, right? You declared and now, and you had to because of the money. And nobody wants to stay in school and be poor when you can even go play internationally and get paid, right? G League, you can get paid. But now that you can get paid a decent amount to stay in school, guys are going to stay in school. So I don't think it's ridiculous. But now Cooper, he's the number 1 overall pick, though. That's a totally different deal. Different deal.
And he was dominating in college this year. There's nothing for him to do in college at all, to be fair.
But I think the vast majority of players, typically every year we'd have, 50 to 75 players declare for the draft and then not be able to return to school and go through, and then they end up in the G League when they could be playing playing in Lakeland in front of 12 people when they could be, they could have stayed at Duke or Georgia Tech or wherever and played, in front of full houses but now they can make money. Now they can make a decent salary, and I think that's good. I think that's good for basketball. I think it's going to help college basketball immensely.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, I didn't even know because I'm much more familiar with the college football side of things than college basketball a lot from a fandom standpoint. And I guess I'm seeing some of these numbers thrown out from some of these college basketball players, some of the money they're demanding to return to their school. And I'm like, I got to be honest, I didn't know that the college basketball players were getting that much dough.
Yeah.
I'm here, all of a sudden I hear remember when Nico wanted the $4 million that was reported to stay at Tennessee, and we all went, well, that's crazy. He's not worth that. And I'm seeing college basketball players who are good players. Don't get me wrong. But, one of them from Memphis, I forget his name, was reportedly demanding $7 million to stay. And I was like, holy hell. I didn't realize
$7 million in basketball.
I didn't realize it was like that.
I didn't think Cooper Flagg's getting that much, is he?
I don't know. It's been fascinating to watch the NIL discussion over the last week because of what happened with Nico. And just in terms of the NIL is doing the opposite of what it was supposed to do. It's so becoming this pay for play system. And that wasn't what NIL was supposed to be. As usual,
it's changing. It's going to change dramatically.
Yeah, as usual, we've lost the plot on the whole thing.
Daniel Rivera says Yankees 366 post on X said they should play at Steinbrenner for the next few years. I agree with that post. Well, you know where I stand on that. How the hell can they go back to Tropicana Field? I just don't. I don't get it. I don't. If the players don't want to go back, the fans, who's going to go back from a fan standpoint? I guess if that's where they're playing, they'll it'll probably just be less than it was, which was awful. 16,000 a game probably goes down to 13,000 a game, and it's more like where's the franchise heading? This is why Major League Baseball, you can't screw around. You can't screw. You want to stay in this market? Get the freaking deal done. I don't care what you got to do. You can do it. You got Vince DeMoli out. You can do what you got to do. If you have to sweeten the pot a little bit for Sternberg, and I know he's going to try to make a ridiculous deal like he always does. If at some point they got to move this franchise forward. We're not sitting around waiting for, even if say tomorrow, Stu said, all right, we got a deal in Tampa. We'd all go, really? Do you? You're going to follow through this time? Then we're going to go through the whole machinations of what does the park look like? Oh, here's some new renderings. Oh, the first time in Tampa, second time in St. Pete, Montreal. Which renderings are these? It's a joke. The dude is done. It's done. He's got to move on. Baseball's got to move on. We're not going back to Tropicana Field. We're not, maybe if there's a new ownership group, it would be a little bit more palatable to know that there's a new stadium coming on the Tampa side and we're moving forward. And then you go back and play in Tropicana Field and you can have your nostalgic couple season run, whatever you want. But it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. But whatevs. Bucks Rays Bolt says, JP, latest news, White running back looks like he's out the door soon. Rookie contract coming up. Don't think he wants to pay him, trade him. Cowboys by draft day. Yeah, I know J.C. Allen's been putting that out there that the Cowboys might want to trade for Rashad White. Do the Bucks want to part with him? What are we going to get? What are we going to get? If I'm the Bucks, he's cheap. He's really good. He's really good.
I'm not saying he's going to be on the roster after this year.
No, we're not going to. No, he's not getting another contract. No,
he still has a valuable role in the offense, and I don't want to put the whole load on Bucky Irving.
No,
the beauty of Bucky Irving, as much as we can be fans and say give Bucky Irving every snap. Why is we can be that, but Bucky was effective because he wasn't running to the ground.
Right. I want Bucky getting 15, 20 touches a game. And I want Rachaad White getting 10 to 15 touches a game.
Yeah, and Rachaad is still, I mean, as a receiving,
he's a really good player.
Yeah.
I think people dump on him because, it's like, he doesn't. He's a much better running back in this gap scheme than he was in that crappy zone blocking scheme. Way better. And he's great. Yeah. He's great in pass protection. He's really good out of the backfield. No, like Rachaad White is a great asset for this team.
Yeah.
People just act like, hey, we could just throw him away. No, we don't want Bucky getting every snap. And I just
Sean Tucker is just like Sean Tucker had his moments and everything, but if you're going to be a backup running back in this league, man, you got to block.
And you can't fumble.
You can't fumble. And you notice that's why the Bucs didn't trust him. He couldn't block. Rachaad is a really good pass blocker.
I like having the three backs because when they're not going to be healthy all year long, like that's not going to be a thing. If you have three really good backs who are cheap, and all these guys are cheap, like really cheap, then don't mess with it. Don't mess. Now, if you want to add one, in the draft in the 6th or 7th round, I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's some really good receiving backs that are specialty guys like that you can get late in the draft. Throw one on there because if your idea is you're not going to bring back Rachaad after this season, we'll bring somebody into the building and start grooming them for that role. Like by all means, but I'm not trading Rachaad White right now. Not when I'm in my window to win.
What is this? Mario says, John, the scary thing is the Vegas has the White winning 10 more games than a season ago, still resulting in 100+ loss. I don't know what that means. Sorry if I missed that.
I think he means the White Sox.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Michael LaRue says, in a spring training TV interview years ago, Stu said they hired Kevin Cash with no managing experience so they could mold him. Yeah, of course. I mean, they hired him because he was cheap and he would go along with the analytics. And I don't think they've ever really given Cash the opportunity to manage to his full capabilities. If you want I would much rather take the shackles off him and let him manage than being constricted with the analytics shackles that he has to deal with. That's my gut feeling. All right, let's take one more break. I get one more break in, and we'll come back and I got a couple other notes that I have to get to Lee Corso. I want a couple notes on Nico as well, and some other things happening in the world that are very curious over the last couple of days. So we'll hit that when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com also does AC. They've got a great special right now to get your unit ready for the summer, where they'll come out and do a tune-up on your AC and make sure that you don't get that emergency call in the summertime when your air conditioner breaks down because the drain pan is clogged up. You don't want that. Call them. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com is the website. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com. Tell them JP sent you back.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Diamond days are on. 20% off all the diamonds, and of course, they have the Diamond Savings Account, which Nick is looking into because he's making all this money now. He's going to bring that ring back to the Gold and Diamond Source. Upgrade, get what you paid for it the first time, Nick, and then you can upgrade and get a couple carats more. So
I can't believe you just said that I was making all this money. That's crazy.
We make so much money in this business. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows we're just killing it here. But it's the Gold and Diamond Source, folks. Great people over there. Great staff. It's the only place to go. It's a tough deal to buy that diamond. You don't know what you're going to get. You always know what you're getting at the Gold and Diamond Source. They've been doing this for over 40 years. Don't go to some fly-by-night place. Don't buy it online. Just go to the Gold and Diamond Source, get a great deal, and get that great Diamond Savings Account. That means you can bring it back anytime and get what you paid for it and upgrade. Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Elmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, a couple things we got to get to. Evan Longoria is going to be inducted into the Tampa Sports Club Hall of Fame on June 6th, I believe it is.
Nice.
And he will be there. We have confirmed that Evan is coming from California and is going to spend the night with us here in Tampa so we can celebrate with him. We got a great class for you. We'll have more info. Lou Maggio is going to join us on Wednesday, the vice president, soon to be president of the Tampa Sports Club, and we'll have all the info on that. Tonight, you're definitely going to want to be there for. So Longo is confirmed that he's coming back, so that's going to be cool. Thank you to Johnny Gerber. We talked a little golf. His matchups this weekend, I bet on Saturday he had one matchup and we lost by a stroke. But on Sunday, we came back 2-0, and he also top 20s hit this week with Berger and Keegan Bradley. So Gerber hits big on the golf this weekend. This is his hot season. These are the courses he really gets hot in mid-season. So if you want to make some money in golf betting, join us on Wednesdays, John Gerber's Picks. Thank you, Johnny G, for paying for Easter brunch. Appreciate that, baby. Lee Corso. Lee Corso announced his retirement. He's going to do one more game August 30th. College game day has not been to Florida State in a long, long time. First team to ever go 13-0 and not get a college game day. We wonder why.
And they won't be returning on August 30th either.
How could they not go?
Well, let me put it this way.
FSU, Alabama, Corso's final game, the Sunshine Scooter played on that field at Doak Campbell Stadium. There is no way they can avoid going to Tallahassee.
Let me put it this way.
Especially after what just happened last week. Come on.
Everybody knows that the other game that day is Ohio State and Texas. Corso's first ever headgear pick was Brutus. So he's got a lot of tie to that for the show itself.
Okay.
Here's my thing. I feel like Lee Corso should make the decision. You get one shot. You get one shot at this, and basically a one final show, to send off Lee in the best way possible. I'm letting Lee make that call. I don't want some ESPN executive making it. If Lee wants to come back to Florida State and end his time on this show at his alma mater, cool. If Lee wants to go to the place where he put on his first headgear pick and tie it up like that and put on Brutus one more time, cool. I'm not personally going to get mad about it. I would just like to see Lee make the decision. I think that's the fair thing to do.
Well, if he's going to, where do you think his call is going to be? Tallahassee.
It just would be interesting dynamic because we know that Florida State fans don't exactly have a lot of love for that show at the moment. Do they want to risk that turning into something different than what it should be?
I think given the happenings of the last week.
Yeah, you're right.
We got to go to FSU. and but I do not put it past the greedy, petty people at ESPN to ignore all of that and do what they want. And because of their hate and disdain for Florida State, because they, in their endeavor to be the best university they can be and compete with the big dogs, tried to leave the crappy ACC like anyone else would have done in their situation.
What I will say though,
ESPN hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they snubbed us because of it. What I
will say though about Lee in general, announcing his retirement, did this come out Thursday or Saturday? I can't even remember anymore.
I think it was Friday.
But I know it's the first time I had a chance to speak on it. But, Lee Corso, I know a lot of people over the last few years, I mean, I hated seeing it. People were like, oh, get Lee off my screen. He's not the same guy. Like, we get that. But I think you would agree with this. There is something about the first college football Saturday, the first game day of the year, and when it comes on and Lee Corso is sitting there in that chair next to Kirk Herbstreit, it just feels magical. Like, not to romanticize about it because it's sports, but how can you not get romantic about sports sometimes? It just felt right. I didn't care that he didn't have his fastball. Didn't expect him to. I never got tired of seeing Lee Corso on my screen. And I think college football is losing something by not having Lee Corso on our screen. Knew this day was coming.
Yeah.
Absolutely sucks. I grew up with Lee Corso on my TV screen. You covered the sport with Lee Corso on your TV screen. Everybody, no matter what generation you are, in some way, shape, or form, you've seen Lee Corso on your TV screen talking college ball and putting on a headgear, and now that's going away. And, all good things come to an end, and college game day is not going to be the same again. It won't.
I think it's apropos that where ESPN is going and is heading is that we're basically replacing Lee Corso with Pat McAfee.
So you're not the biggest McAfee fan on the show?
No, I used to be, but he's a sellout now. So
really,
yeah, he's a sellout. He's a complete sellout. I don't know, but that's what and that's where we're at. We've gone from a likable guy who bleeds college football. It's passion. It's all about that to a guy who's an opportunist to make money, and it's all about him. With Lee Corso, it was all about the game and the sport. With McAfee, it's all about him. It's all about him.
I thought they were able to offset it this past year by adding Saban to the panel because, we all want – Nick Saban, getting a chance to hear him talk ball in
awesome.
That setting, he's awesome. So I felt like Pat brought the entertainment factor for sure. And then you have Saban and Kirk, who are as knowledgeable as anybody in the game. Desmond's just sort of like – I wouldn't put him in the same tier as Saban and Kirk when it comes to like the – getting into the weeds of the game, but
I think McAfee's a distraction. I think he's a carnival, and I don't need a carnival. College football is good enough for me for entertainment value. The game itself is entertainment value. I don't need a clown. I don't need a clown to be part of it. I know.
Going in on McAfee today.
By the way, congrats to the Durham Bulls throwing 0-0 over the weekend, led by Joe Bull. Joe Boyle and Cole Sulzer.
Wait, hold on. Joe Boyle.
Yeah.
Had no-hit innings in AAA.
Yeah.
So he had a no-hitter with the Rays through 5 or 6 innings, and then went to his first start in AAA back, and he had a no-hitter going again.
Yeah, Joe Boyle on the 19th, so Saturday night. Joe Boyle, Cole Sulzer, and Jacob Waguespack combined for the team's first no-no since 2019. Waguespack.
Can I see Joe Boyle back again, then, please?
Yeah. And in the weirdest thing, I mean, by the way, condolences to all the Catholics. The Pope passed at 88. And coincidentally, Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, stepping down. And J.D. Vance was in the Vatican last week. A lot of crazy stuff happening. Crazy stuff happening on the world stage right now.
I wouldn't have known unless you just said it. The
Great Reset is being reset. So something really good's about to happen or something really bad's about to happen. That's all I'm going to say.
I'll be over here just watching playoff hockey.
There's one other 88 that we won't mention with those 88s. Who's going to shine this week and for the next 6 weeks on our way to another Stanley Cup? That'd be Vasilevsky. All right. Thank you, Nick. That was fun today. As always, thank you for your breakdown of WrestleMania. Fantastic. You're the best. We will be back tomorrow. We have a big show. Scott Reynolds is going to join us on the draft. I believe we'll have Brian Bradley as well. And Dave Randorf is going to join us. The voice of the Lightning is going to join us tomorrow to kick off the show at 10:10 for Game 1 preps for the Lightning and Panthers tomorrow.
And I believe you're going to be on Pewter Report today, correct?
I am. 4 o'clock, I will be co-hosting with Scott Reynolds. So check that out as well. Busy week. It's a busy, busy week. Absolutely freaking love it. That's why you tune in every day for 2 hours. Tampa Bay sports-centric talk, the JP Peterson Show. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.